Well, I don't know if you know this or not by now. And I saw that post from Angel Reese or what I thought was Angel Reese or whatever I got told was Angel Reese about the white girl didn't want any of the fade or something like that. I thought it had to be a mistake. Somebody asked me about it and I said, no, surely to God she would not have even Angel Reese surely realizes not to repost something like that, right?
Welcome to Where the Truth Lives, the only arena where we break down what's happening in the world of sports with no filters, no scripts, and no apologies. This is not a place for manufactured narratives or corporate sanitized commentary. This is where we call things as they are, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable.
Hell, I guess I was wrong. I guess she did. And so now that I'm really starting to look into this, I'm like, God, not only is this real, but you've got media members that actually do try to hold the WNBA to some kind of responsibility. They're talking about there's no room for hate, this and that and the other one. And you got a player that's blatantly advocating for violence against far and away your most popular player. All right, and bringing race into the situation.
Today we're diving into what might be the most consequential controversy the WNBA has ever faced. This isn't just about basketball. This is about culture, about race, about integrity, about what happens when a league that preaches equity and justice finds itself unable or unwilling to enforce its own standards. At the center of it all, two rising icons, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, and behind them a league teetering on the edge of becoming a parody of itself. Let's unpack this.
But this was put out right here. Again, hell, I thought it was fake originally. And I guess it's not. I mean, it's crazy. White girl running from the fade. There's Angel Reese right there. There's, of course, Caitlin Clark doing the responsible thing, not wanting to tank her public relations, like Angel Reese walking away after the take foul the other night, or the other day against the Chicago Sky.
It all started with a single social media post, a TikTok that spread like wildfire, captioned with the words, "White girl running from the fade." In the clip, we see a moment from a WNBA game between the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky. Caitlin Clark, arguably the most popular athlete in women's sports right now, had just taken a hard foul. Rather than escalate the situation, she chose to walk away, to disengage, to protect her reputation and avoid a confrontation.
And I was like, again, somebody sent that to me and I said, it's got to be fake. And I was like, nope, here's a video on TikTok right here. And that picture is in this video. And it was reposted by Angel Reese. And let me see if I have the ability there. I'm going to just turn that down because I don't want a copyright strike. But right there, there's the picture. And Angel Reese did, in fact, repost this on TikTok, it looks like, and share it. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Or are you kidding me? And the WNBA is going after and lecturing Indiana Fever fans in this investigation? Are you trying to tell me Angel Reese is not going to get suspended for this, not going to get fined for this? Or is the WNBA too gutless to stand up against things like this, even if it is against a white woman?
Now, in any sane world, that would be considered admirable, the kind of level-headedness you'd want from a leader, but someone saw that as an opportunity to stoke division. They reframed the moment, turned it into a meme, added a caption that suggested Clark was scared, a coward, that she was literally running away from a physical altercation.
Right here, Angel Reese cries about racism that never happened, then goes on and reposts openly racist TikToks. This is why the WNBA is a joke. It not only allows, but encourages racism against white people. Well, it takes a step further here. Because my boy over at Outkick, Bobby Burack, who's a hell of a good journalist, did reach out to the WNBA Right here, I asked the WNBA if they had a comment on Angel Reese's racist post on TikTok about Caitlin Clark. The league had no comment, nor would it address Reese suggesting she wants to fight Caitlin Clark. So much for, quote, zero tolerance for hate. You know, the WNBA is running an ad right now about, I think, the physicality of the league. And at some point, we just gotta ask the question: is this what Kathy Engelbert and the WNBA wanted? Is this what they wanted? Is all this drama, all this? I mean, I understand it's good for ratings. Maybe the commissioner's sitting back and she's secretly smiling about this or whatnot, but you're still targeting the fan base that's funding this whole thing in the Indiana Fever.
And Angel Reese, one of the league's biggest, named someone with millions of followers and a massive public platform, reposted it. She didn't qualify it, she didn't deny it, she amplified it. And that right there is where everything changed. To understand the full weight of this moment, you need to understand who these players are. Caitlin Clark isn't just another rookie. She's a phenom, a ratings juggernaut, a cultural lightning rod. She brought in more viewers to the women's NCAA championship than the men's final. For the first time in history, she's filled arenas across the country in a league that before her arrival often struggled to sell out. 30,000-seat gyms she brought eyeballs, dollars, and unprecedented visibility. Angel Reese, too, is a powerhouse. She became a household name during LSU's championship run and has cultivated a strong fan base by owning her image and her voice. She's confident, polarizing, marketable. She represents a wave of young Black athletes reclaiming the narrative and refusing to be boxed into anyone's mold of acceptable behavior. So when Angel reposts a racially charged video mocking Caitlin Clark, the symbolism doesn't just live in the moment, it echoes through the culture. It says something much deeper, and when the WNBA chooses to do nothing about it, they are making a statement too, whether they realize it or not.
All right. They're the ones grabbing the ratings. They're the ones paying up for the tickets, even on the road. And I've got to wonder, are you going to start seeing more empty seats even at Caitlin Clark games? Because I can tell you this, just from what I can gauge, a lot of Fever fans are already sort of fed up. All right, they're already sort of fed up. And you could hear it from the crowd. The crowd said that they, I guess, Kathy Engelbert came over and lectured the crowd prior to the game the other day. How about at Kathy Engelbert? Does she have any comment? If the at WNBA wants to be taken seriously, we should have transparency on these types of issues. Absolutely.
Let's break this down. The WNBA has for years sold itself as the league of values, a league of inclusivity, of accountability. They run campaigns about respect, they preach unity and togetherness, they highlight their diversity as a point of pride. So where's the consistency? When fans shout something deemed inappropriate, whether it's truly offensive or just inconvenient, the league launches an investigation. When critics question the narrative, they're labeled as bigots or misogynist. But when a player with massive influence reposts something inflammatory, blatantly targeting another player and dragging race into the equation, the WNBA pretends it didn't happen. There's no statement, no disciplinary action, not even a public warning, nothing. That's not leadership, that's cowardice disguised as progress.
The WNBA is officially having their Jussie Smollett Bubba Wallace hoax situation right here, right now. You're watching it. And there's other things going on like this being shared by Angel Reese. WNBA's turning a blind eye to it. Do they not realize, look, if you want to be taken as a, number one, if you want to keep all these new fans around, and you want to be treated like a real sports league, you've got to start taking things like this seriously and quit worrying about going after somebody because they made a crack about Brittany Griner being arrested in Russia. sports fans are going to go after Brittany Griner over that. They're going to heckle her over that. I heard that yesterday and was like, are you kidding me? Fact, Brittany Griner got arrested in Russia for cannabis oil, which is illegal in Russia. You expect sports fans to not literally heckle her with that during a game? Have you ever been to a Raiders game, an Eagles game? You gotta be kidding me.
Let's play this out in reverse. Imagine Caitlin Clark shared a video with the caption, "Black girl can't handle the smoke." You know exactly what would happen. There would be nationwide outrage, endless think pieces, protests, demands for suspension, brand deals would get pulled, ESPN would dedicate a week of coverage to it, activists would swarm social media, and rightfully so, because that would be offensive, inflammatory, and deeply inappropriate. So why is it acceptable? When it's flipped, the answer is uncomfortable. It's not acceptable. But some people pretend it is because they're afraid to challenge the double standard. They fear being called racist even when they're calling out actual racism. Let's be crystal clear. Racism is racism. It's not justified by the history of oppression. It's not justified by frustration. It's not empowerment to attack someone based on their race, no matter the context. And if the WNBA wants to be taken seriously as a professional league, it has to stop treating morality like a buffet where you only pick what suits your agenda. Now, let's talk about the people who actually keep the lights on. The fans right now. Indiana Fever fans are among the most loyal and engaged in the WNBA. They show up, they travel, they chant, they care. And what do they get in return? Disrespect, condescension, warnings. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert reportedly lectured the Fever crowd before a recent game, not about cheering harder or showing love, but about their behavior, their tone. This in the middle of an investigation sparked by what now appears to be a completely unfounded claim of racism. Meanwhile, Angel Reese shares racially inflammatory content and faces no accountability. You don't need a PR degree to see why this is a problem. You don't need a marketing background to understand what happens when fans start feeling insulted by the very league they support. You just need common sense. If this continues, you're going to see empty seats again, even at Caitlin Clark games. That's how bad this could get. The absurdity of the moment is best captured by a joke. Yes, a joke. A satire page recently posted a fake headline, WNBA to ban booing. It was a joke, a parody, but here's the thing, people believed it. Thousands of people thought it was real. Why? Because it sounded like something the WNBA would actually do.
Somebody, NBA Centel, which is a parody site, a satire site, shared a fake post about the WNBA banning booing. All right. At first glance, I saw it and was like, well, I can't believe it took them this long. And then I saw who posted it and was like, okay, good. But that just tells you it got a lot of people. That post, a lot of people thought it was real. Because at this point, we're expecting the WNBA to literally do something absurd like ban booing in a sports league.
That's how far the league has fallen. Satire has become prophecy. The line between reality and absurdity has completely dissolved. When people assume your league would ban booing, something that is literally part of the sports experience, you're no longer viewed as a professional operation. You're a punchline, a circus, a performance without a script. And once fans start laughing at you instead of with you, you're in serious trouble. Let's step away from the court for a moment and talk about business. Sponsors don't invest in chaos. Broadcasters don't pay top dollar for controversy. Fatigue. Merchandise partners don't want to attach themselves to unpredictable PR nightmares. And when a league signals that it can't even enforce its own code of conduct consistently, it sends a loud message to the people holding the purse strings. You can't trust us. Every brand that partnered with the WNBA because of its values is now watching closely, and every moment of inconsistency, hypocrisy, or cowardice chips away at that foundation. If the WNBA loses the faith of its corporate partners, no amount of TikTok virality is going to save it. At what point does Adam Silver step in? Let's not forget the WNBA exists under the umbrella of the NBA. These teams are partially owned by NBA franchises. Their success or failure reflects back on the entire sport. If this spiral continues, it's not just a WNBA problem, it becomes a basketball problem, a brand problem. Adam Silver needs to ask himself a hard question. Does he want to be remembered as the commissioner who expanded the global game, or the one who stood by while the women's league destroyed itself from within? Because Caitlin Clark brought millions of new eyes to the WNBA. She brought in fans who had never watched a women's game in their life, and now those same fans are watching in disbelief as the league mishandles one crisis after another if silver cares about. Long-term sustainability now is the time to act, not next season, not after the playoffs. Now the WNBA is standing at a historic intersection. One path leads to growth, integrity, accountability, and respect. The other leads to division, hypocrisy, declining fan trust, and eventual irrelevance. They have to make a choice, not just about Angel Reese, not just about Caitlin Clark, but about who they are and who they want to be. Because here's the brutal truth: you don't get to have it both ways. You don't get to say zero tolerance for hate and then tolerate it when it fits your narrative. You don't get to scold fans and then excuse players. You don't get to brand yourself as a league of values and then stay silent when those values are violated. You're either a real league or a political theater. You're either fair or you're fake. So, WNBA, what's it going to be?